All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today we're skipping all that mass-produced stuff to embark on a highly tactile, incredibly intimate journey. We're looking at a literal 100% hand-turned masterpiece, a bespoke Indian fountain pen. We're going to focus entirely on the personal sensory experience, going from the raw craftsmanship all the way to that absolutely glorious moment of putting wet ink onto paper.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that this quote, it isn't some slick marketing copy. It's the actual handwritten verdict pulled straight from the source notes we're exploring today. It perfectly teases the physical reward that's waiting for us. But how exactly do we get to that buttery smooth moment? Well, it all starts with the sheer, undeniable physical presence of the instrument itself.
Just look at the striking contrast and the sheer scale of the fully assembled, gleaming black Woodex pen resting there on the page. I mean, it's practically begging you to pick it up, right? The scale of this thing is immense. It's what the fountain pen community often calls a jumbo or giant pen. But to truly appreciate what we're looking at, we have to look back at exactly where it came from. Which brings us to Section 1, the Sanctum Sanctorum of Pen Making.
So this instrument originates from the deeply historic pen-making tradition of Hyderabad. You see, you aren't just getting a standard writing tool here. This specific Woodex pen is meticulously shaped entirely by hand. Think about the sheer precision required by master artisan Mr. Prabhakar Cherry to shape this on a heritage lathe. It literally connects the modern user directly to decades of history and craft.
Now, if you're wondering about that deep, glossy black finish we saw a second ago, we have to talk about the traditional material being used. It's called Indian ebonite. Basically, ebonite is a hard rubber created through a process called vulcanization. Historically, people actually referred to it as wood because it perfectly mimics the rich look and feel of real ebony wood. And fun fact, that's exactly where the brand name Woodex actually comes from.
All right, moving on to part 2, tradition meets precision.
Okay, so while the outside of this pen is deeply traditional, the engine inside is beautifully practical. The Woodex number 62 pairs that glossy ebonite with a massive, ambitious 40mm medium nib, and it's fueled by an incredibly reliable German-made Schmidt K5 converter working alongside a modern plastic feed. Top it all off with this subtle, handsome WDX etched right into the clip, and you've got a seriously impressive piece of hardware. But let's be real, all those specs don't mean a thing if the pen isn't comfortable to actually hold. When you compare the custom, super inviting Woodex hourglass grip to your standard, sterile, cylindrical pen designs, you instantly see why this bespoke pen feels so incredibly ergonomic. Even though it is a massive pen, that hourglass pattern carved right into the grip section naturally guides your hand into the absolute perfect writing position.
If we take a look at the uncapped setup, you can clearly see the clear plastic and metal of that Schmidt converter nested right inside the barrel. Now pay close attention to those rigorous figure-8 scribbles and fast slashes on the paper. That is a deliberate skip test. They're pushing this pen hard just to see if the ink flow can actually keep up with rapid, chaotic hand movements.
And the results of that test? They completely prove the mechanical benefit of that modern plastic feed. The capillary action is almost instantaneous. You're left with absolutely zero skipping and no ink saps, even during those incredibly fast test scribbles. The modern feed keeps up flawlessly with the heavy demands of that massive nib, delivering a gorgeous wet sheen of Ellington Dark Descent black ink right onto the page.
Which leads us beautifully into Section 3, the philosophy of slow writing.
I absolutely love this handwritten observation from the source notes. It reads, "Pen is light, but not for fast writing. Slow, deliberate writing is much enjoyable." This highlights such a beautiful paradox. Because it's made of ebonite, this massive jumbo pen is surprisingly lightweight, but because of its sheer size, it gently dictates a slower, far more intentional pace. It really isn't built for frantic note-taking. And honestly, that forced slower pace becomes the pen's absolute greatest benefit. It takes the simple act of writing and transforms it from a rushed chore into a deeply enjoyable, focused ritual. For the busy modern professional, this acts as a therapeutic, mindful antidote to our completely fast-paced, hyper-digital world. It literally forces you to be intentional with your strokes and reconnects you with a physical object meticulously crafted half a world away. Resting triumphantly on a full page of notes, the pen is capped and the work is finally done. This quiet, still moment speaks volumes about the deep satisfaction of the analog experience. It's the ultimate visual representation of just taking time out of your day to focus your thoughts and create something tangible with an instrument made by a true master craftsman. So, in a hyper-digital world where we all routinely type hundreds of words a minute without a second thought,
I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Do you make time for these tactile, focused moments anymore? How does the joy of slow, deliberate writing fit into your life? Hopefully, exploring the sensory journey of this bespoke Woodex pen has sparked a little desire to step away from the keyboard, even just for a few minutes today, to embrace the tactile joy of picking up a pen.